AUDEN LARRATT versus the Arm Wrestling Whisperer is going down at King of the Table in under 2 weeks. This will be both AUDEN and the Whisperer's debut as far as this big of a stage goes. And I think this is going to be a great match and it will be very close, but I think AUDEN is likely going to take this one. In this video, we will cover the reasons for this. Firstly, when we look at this match, fortunately, we have some overlap to study. Both AUDEN and Whisperer have had matches with Gabriel Young, Whisperer from way back in the day, and AUDEN from much more recently. If we take a look at Whisperer's match against Gabriel the first time, we can see that Gabriel is just a bit too much for him in terms of explosivity. Initially, we see Gabriel flashpin Whisperer pretty easily, but once the match stops, it does become clear that the power levels are very close. Whisperer has a more patient and efficient style, so he seems to do better over rounds. But still, they are right there in terms of maximum force output. But this is a few years ago, and later on in 2022, the two would meet again in a tournament. This time around, Whisperer had made noticeable progress. Although Gabriel's speed is still a lot to deal with, once Whisperer puts the brakes on, it's clear that there is at least a decent strength gap. Whisperer takes this one pretty comfortably. So now, let's take a look at AUDEN versus Gabriel. Keep in mind, however, that this match takes place in 2024 just a little bit ago. Immediately, we see AUDEN with the high hook easily driving sideways and pinning Gabriel. Initially, upon seeing this move, I thought that AUDEN just blocked Gabriel's access to his power entirely, but looking a bit closer, we see that Gabriel actually has his wrist decently bent. So Gabriel still has at least some purchase in this match. Obviously not as much as he wants, but still some. And this shows us that AUDEN has some real deal side pressure. We see more of the same upon the second ready go. AUDEN with easy flash pins in this match, and it becomes clear that AUDEN can pretty much do whatever he wants. There's just a bit too big of a gap in the hand and wrist, and potentially the arm as well. So I would say pretty clearly AUDEN performed better against Gabriel than Whisperer did, but as stated earlier, these two matches are almost 2 years apart. It's safe to assume that Whisperer has increased his power since the last time he faced Gabriel, and Whisperer is no joke in terms of raw power. But there is a problem for him, and it's a problem he is well aware of. His choice of style forces him to start the match from a position where he doesn't have access to that crazy power. He must first gain access to this by forcing the hook onto his opponent. Only then does he get a hold of 100% of his power and endurance. And if this match goes into a hook, I think Whisperer has great chances. If it is a full-blown deep supinated hook, I think he's the favorite. If it's somewhere in the middle where AUDEN is high hooking and Whisperer doesn't have everything he wants, then I think it's a lot closer. But if AUDEN cracks that wrist back, I think it's probably all over. And although the Gabriel versus Whisperer match was a while ago, Whisperer competed in a tournament just 10 months ago where he showed signs of difficulty against those low-down, cheesy, long-arm having top rollers. And against AUDEN, Whisperer isn't just going up against any of these guys. He's going up against the guy who has been coached his whole life by the cheesiest and low-downiest of all the long-arm having top rollers. AUDEN's ability to deny the hook solely in the setup is going to be so annoying for him to deal with. And at the end of the day, I think this match is going to be won or lost in the setup, and Whisperer just has a way harder job than AUDEN does. All that AUDEN has to do is subtly rise and supinate, and it's going to be so hard for Whisperer to do anything to counter this without lifting his elbow off the pad entirely. And if he does that, AUDEN can just lift it with him, and this whole process is just going to start over again. I think if you have a situation where both pullers are a 10 out of 10 in terms of their technique, but you have a long arm guy trying to set up to top roll a short arm guy, the long arm guy just has a straight up advantage in the setup. And I don't think that Whisperer is going to be able to overcome that advantage. So in the end, I do favor AUDEN, but I really just hope we get to see a great match. I love watching both these guys pull, and I wish they could somehow both win this match, but this isn't possible. And we are now less than 2 weeks out from match day.